How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna do kind of a quick conciseness and review of Avatar: The Way of the Water. We literally just got out of the theater for it, and we have some thoughts we want to share. And some of them, very nice, and others maybe a little more spicy takes. So we'll start with me. I personally loved the movie. I thought it was great. I thought the story was a solid story to help complement the first movie. I thought that they did a really good job at kind of presenting it again, and I honestly went into the movie with very low expectations. I expected it to really suck, and especially not seeing that long, I just didn't think I would care. I didn't care about anybody, like the characters and stuff like that. And by the end of the movie, they had me totally hooked. I thought the whole premise of the movie was really, really well done. And it looks great, obviously. Visuals are fantastic. And overall, I just was very surprised. And I definitely think it's worth watching for sure.
Yeah. I thought overall that it was very cinematic and very eye-catching. It was definitely James Cameron. If you guys have seen his work before, which I'm sure most of you have, seeing as how it's almost always a top box office hit. It almost always is. So, but it's very reminiscent and captures the same feelings and the same emotion that you would see from the first one. If you guys saw that in theaters, it is very on that way, if not even better. There was a lot of vibrant colors, a lot of just dynamic videography and stuff that went into this, and it's just beautiful. It's 100% what you would expect from him to do. And speaking on to more of the timeline that we saw, it's a 3 hour and 15 minute movie runtime, and the way it is set up, it is definitely, it flows very nicely. Sometimes there were a few plot points that were kind of thrown in there, like you have a lot of information going on at the same time. And so I thought that at some points there was just a lot to process and digest, but the way that they do the videography and all of that kind of stuff, it all works really well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, when you go into a movie like this, you expect to see huge set pieces, great CGI. I mean, you get all that from the first movie. You get a lot of that in a lot of these big budget movies nowadays, but it makes sense. The 3 hour runtime does make a little bit of sense, in the sense that you have to, with such a huge gap between the first movie and now this movie, you got to have a little bit of something to bring your audience back into it, especially if you did not watch the original one prior to going into this, mm-hmm. or like me, I had originally seen it in theaters back in 2009 or whenever that had come out. So I mean that's kind of what gives you that 3 hour runtime. Although I will say that because of that, it does get a little bit. This movie gets a little bit bloated for me. They try to do a lot of things, and they do accomplish a lot of things, but I just don't think that 3 hours was necessary to say. I mean, I don't know, it's hard to say, but they tried to do a lot of different things, and I know that they're setting up for more movies, and I know that they've already they're going to be making more movies. It's already been confirmed that they're going to be making more movies. And so with that in mind, that a lot of these things, a lot of these questions that are brought up, a lot of these many plot points that are fitting into this movie are going to probably come back again full circle if they didn't already get concluded within this film. But I mean, overall, it looks great. The story for me is a little bit it's a little too simplistic. I know that James Cameron is really good at taking a very simple story and making it feel like more than that, and especially in these kind of movies like Avatar, where it's a very basic plot, very basic story, but on a huge set piece. So it makes a story seem
larger than life.
It is.
Yep.
And this movie, when you really break it down and it really boils down to it, it's an extremely simple story. And there are parts of it that I won't spoil now that just don't really work for me personally. So, I mean, that's just kind of my thought on the whole thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the 3 hour thing, it is a grind, don't get me wrong, but that first hour, I feel like it's kind of necessary for a movie that hasn't been out in forever to kind of get people pulled back into the world of Pandora. And basically it's just a rehashing of like what the world is, what the animals are, the people are, their language they speak, all this kind of stuff to kind of get you back into it. So that first hour is basically recapping the first movie essentially, and then the actual second movie starts once they, get to a new place and a new environment and things like that, and things aren't what they seemed and stuff like that. And you know what part that is in the movie, especially when you go and see it. But I mean, I liked it because unlike him, I didn't watch the first movie since way back in the day. I always tried to watch it, and then every time I'm like, do I really want to dedicate 3 hours? And so I never do it. But this movie, it was so good that it kind of got me invested in the lore again. I kind of want to go back and rewatch like Sigourney Weaver's character. I kind of forgot that she died or something happened to her in the first movie. I kind of forgot about all that. So I was like a little thrown off and confused a little bit when I saw her and kind of how she is in the movie or whatever, basically. And so that part there kind of intrigued me a bit to kind of go back because I kind of forgot some of those little things that I missed. But I mean, other than that, I thought it was a good, concise movie. Going in with low expectations of just sequels having a terrible thing, and that, the anticipation of this long, I think it paid off. I think it was really good. I'm excited for the one in 2024, Avatar 3, whatever they call that. And I think it's a solid movie. I think it's worth your time to see it on opening weekend. And I mean, that's my opinion anyways.
Yeah, that's definitely, I share the same. I think that overall it moved along in a pace that was very manageable. It's definitely worth the watch in the theaters. I think you will also have in my personal, I'm not one for the theaters as much as I am watching it in the comfort of your own home. That's just me. But I think that either way that you watch it, it's going to keep your attention long enough that you will not notice that time pass as hard. So I think that will work if that's been one of people's bigger, issues with the movie is they just don't want to sit through it. I think that that's easily remedied just by the fact that it's as good a movie as it is.
I'm on the opposite train on that. I think if I were to watch this movie here in the house, I would have never made it through that movie.
Yeah.
I'd have been asleep so fast.
That's true.
100% would have been asleep so fast.
Yeah.
I saw the first Avatar in theaters when I was young. It was 2009. I was pretty young.
A wee little lad.
I saw it in theaters, and it's a very big experience. It's something I feel like you need to see in theaters. I think if I watched this at home, I'd have fallen asleep, and I think that's just because of they really, really take their time.
Yeah.
Because they introduce a lot of new stuff in this movie. After you get through, well, not even after you get through the first hour, right away in the movie, as they're recapping you, they're introducing you simultaneously to probably 6-7 different characters that you didn't know about before.
Yeah.
You got to try to learn who all these characters are and connect with them. And so they do that in a rushed sense for that first hour where they are packing you full of what happened over this time, and then they do a year jump or something like that, and then you have to spend the next 2 hours learning who all these people are. And so you care about them in the end of this film. And that's, again, contributes to that 3-hour runtime. I do, however, there's a plot line in the movie that I want to talk about later that is a bit spoiler territory. I didn't watch a lot of trailers for this movie, and I also watched the first movie about a week prior to seeing this movie just because I was excited to see something that we've been waiting for so long. And I mean, good, bad, indifferent, it's something I felt like I really needed to see. And I think everybody should go see it because this is the kind of thing we're getting for the first time a fully original idea that's going to be a whole series of movies. It's not based on comic books, it's not based on novels, it's not based on this and that, and so I think this is something that needs to be supported one way or another. And so that's why I would say to see it in theaters because it's too long a movie otherwise. Yeah. Well, I don't think I'll watch it at all.
Yeah, so just to drive the point home, we're kind of in a drought of really good saga trilogy movies since the Harry Potter movies essentially, because we really got burned on Star Wars. The Star Wars trilogy, the sequel trilogy was just garbage. That just ruined almost the entire series worth of stuff. But then we also had what was the other movie? that I mentioned that had a terrible like trilogy. and
Oh,
stuff.
Fantastic Beast.
Oh, Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, that third movie. They have like 2 more movies they're making with that, but it just I'm not invested. They really I say Harry Potter, but yeah, Fantastic Beasts. I know it's the same thing, but yeah, it's a totally different realm. The Harry Potter thing is way better. Fantastic Beasts was interesting, but no, I'm excited for this one. The first 2 movies are great. The second one is great. I'm excited. I think the third one should be good too. They have a lot of places they can write the story to go, which will make it really exciting because a shit should go down big time in this one.
Well, I think the third one will be way more focused.
Because whatever they do now if they fuck up the third one, like with some of these plot lines, like it's gonna be hard to recover with 4 and 5. So they really got to make it like happen. This could make or break. This could be the last Jedi of the series. So we don't want that shit to happen. So now, granted, like you said, there's no books or something. People are expecting it. So there's expectations. There's no expectations for the movie. Yeah. None of us really know
you can't
exactly
be upset about like, oh, this isn't how it actually played out. Or,
So
they changed this, they changed that. No, I mean it's all original.
So I think we all can say you should see it in theaters. We should really support a movie like this, especially a sequel that actually is really good. Go support it, and we'll.
Do you like it better or worse than the first? Do you think?
Oh, I like it better than the first one. But like I said, I haven't seen the first one forever, so it's hard to say that. But just from coming right hot off the press, I do like this one a lot.
Yeah. I hold that opinion as well.
Yeah.
And I'm along the camp of I actually really like the first one. Seeing this one, I like this one.
You just like the forest environment more than the water, or what?
Well, not necessarily that even.
You just like the way of the forest, huh?
I like I like the way that the first one. I don't know. I like the pacing of the first one better, and I think the character development of Jake Sully being put into this environment.
Going into his body and stuff like that?
Yeah, and all that, the transition and learning about
I will say there's a counterpoint in that. I was kind of sick of, we have so many military movies. That movie has so much, military, because they're in this movie, the military sky people, most of them are blue now. So it's more immersive because you don't see that many humans in this particular movie.
Yeah.
But in the first movie, I immediately think of a military movie because I'm I've seen those 1,000 times. So it gets repetitive in that sense. Where that's where the second one sticks out to me more because now we're fully almost fully immersed into this world now where humans are hardly seen now. It's mainly just the avatars now and things like that.
I think the first one, for me, did a better job of... So both of these movies, to me, feel like they kind of tell a similar story. Protect the things you love. The first movie, they're protecting their forest, their home, the life tree, all that. And in this movie, they're protecting family. They're protecting the ones.
But that could be the theme of the whole saga.
It could be. This one does, because like I said...
the first one was protect the forest. The second one was protect the oceans. The third one could be, something else or whatever. Protect the space lands, the asteroids. I don't know.
Protect the rocks.
Protect the rocks.
I like the first one better. Just for a myriad of different reasons. I like... was it Stephen Lang? I like him in the first one, where they have the whole dynamic of Jake Sully, working with him, also working with the scientists, also working with the Navi. There's a lot.
But there's a correlation to that in the movie, very similar to that from the first one to the movie, where I get what you're saying. The story is almost repeating itself.
Yep.
But I don't know, that's kind of like a good song. A good song has the same refrain like a chorus, and so a good song can get you pulled back into the chorus where the chorus makes sense to things. So a movie can have a refrain in that regard where it's repeating the same theme type of thing. So I wouldn't give it a minus point for that because that might just be good writing, just to refer back to the themes and really pushing home that this is my idea of the whole thing. This is my theme. This is the whole idea, and I just want to kind of keep through that the entire saga. That might make it a better saga because of that reason, But I think overall that's pretty much the conciseness of the movie. Go see it, guys. Support your local theater.
Absolutely.
Spend that money. Get that $15 popcorn.
Yeah.
Get that $15 pop. You know what I'm saying? But
Take out a loan. Go see a movie.
Take out a loan. But anyways, guys, yeah, this is Dollhouse Pictures, and thank you guys so much for checking out this review, and thank you. We'll see you in the next one.
Have a good one.